Ever get that feeling? Like you're just drowning in information, trying to sift through it all, figure out what's real and what's not. Every day, a new headline, a new theory, everybody and their brother's got an opinion.
Oh, yeah. It's like a constant barrage. Hard to get a clear signal sometimes.
It really is. So what if, what if we could step back from all that noise just for a bit, maybe dig into some ideas that might help us make sense of things? The big picture.
Kind of like a deep dive,
Yeah.
a focused look, really get to the heart of things.
Exactly. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. A deep dive into some pretty thought-provoking material.
And what have we got on the table today?
Well, today we're cracking open George Orwell's 1984.
Ah, classic.
Right. A dystopian novel paints a picture of a society completely under the thumb of a totalitarian regime.
Still resonates today, doesn't it? Given all the conversations swirling around about control and influence.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to use it for.
Yeah.
As a lens to examine some aspects of our world today, some of the things you might be seeing, thinking about.
Absolutely. To be clear, we're not here to say this is happening or that's a conspiracy.
Right. But we are going to explore those ideas, see how Orwell's depiction of power and control might shed light on the discussions, the questions that are out there. So, first things first. How does 1984 portray the control of information and reality?
Well, right off the bat, you've got these telescreens everywhere. Think constant surveillance and propaganda.
Oh, these aren't just like TVs, right?
No. Think more like two-way monitors. Always watching you, always broadcasting. And the content, relentless updates on production figures, Big Brother's face plastered everywhere, slogans hammered into you, Big Brother is watching you, war is peace, you know the drill.
Chilling stuff. Can't even turn the things off right.
Nope, you can turn the volume down, but that's about it. Always there, always watching.
I mean, talk about a lack of privacy. And it makes you think about how connected we are today. Screens everywhere, our phones, computers, TVs, all feeding us a constant stream of information. Sometimes I wonder, is it even possible to process it all?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? The sheer volume, it can be overwhelming. We're bombarded with messages, much like those telescreens. And sifting through it all, figuring out what's true, what's biased, what's outright false, that takes mental energy.
Right. Like it or not, it takes effort to be a critical thinker these days. And then you have Winston, main character, he works in the records department, essentially rewriting history to fit the party's narrative.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Imagine anytime the party needs to change the story, erase an inconvenient fact, Winston's your guy. Got a prediction wrong in the Times, need to tweak Big Brother's speech about the war, down the memory hole it goes, and a new truth is born.
Like magic, right? History becomes whatever the party wants it to be. And that manipulation, I mean, it makes you think about all the talk about fake news and misinformation today. Is it really that different?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, sure, we don't have literal memory holes, but how do we know what's real anymore? How do we guard against having our understanding of the past manipulated?
Big questions, for sure. And then there's newspeak. That's the party's language, right?
Yeah, a whole new way of speaking, supposedly designed to improve communication, but in reality, it's way more sinister than that.
Oh, definitely. It's about controlling thought, simplifying language to the point where certain ideas can't even be expressed anymore. Like the word free. It exists in newspeak, but only in very narrow contexts.
Exactly. This field is free of weeds, that kind of thing. The concept of political freedom, poof, gone, because the language to articulate it doesn't exist.
Makes your head spin. Really, it's almost like the party is saying, if you can't say it, you can't think it. Scary stuff.
Absolutely. And it forces us to look at how language is used today. I mean, think about how words can be twisted, how certain phrases can be used to shut down debate, to manipulate opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, it makes you realize how powerful language is, right? How it can be used to shape our understanding of the world, and in some cases, to limit it. Okay, let's talk surveillance. 1984 takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. It's not just the telescreens. It's this constant feeling of being watched, of having no escape from the party's gaze. You've got Big Brother's eyes following you from posters everywhere, slogans reminding you that Big Brother is watching you, even on things like coins and stamps.
Crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. Like the book says, nothing was your own except the few cubic centimeters inside your skull. And it makes you think about, the cameras we have everywhere today, the data that's being collected about us online. Are we really that far off?
That's the question, isn't it? Where's the line between security and, just constant monitoring? How much are we willing to give up in the name of safety or convenience?
Definitely something to consider. Now, let's talk about the psychological manipulation in the book. One thing that always gets to me is the 2 minutes hate.
Oh, yeah. That's a wild one.
Right. It's this daily ritual where everyone is forced to participate in this, like, frenzied outburst of hatred against Emmanuel Goldstein, this supposed enemy of the state, and of course, whoever the enemy superpower is at that moment.
So it's like this orchestrated rage. Looks spontaneous, but you know it's completely manufactured.
Exactly. And I mean, think about it. It's a pretty brilliant way to control people, right? Unify them against a common enemy, distract them from their own problems, channel their frustration outwards.
Totally. It's textbook divide and conquer, isn't it? And it makes you think about how easily people can be manipulated through their emotions, especially fear and anger.
Definitely. And it's not just about controlling actions, it's about controlling thoughts.
Yeah.
That's where thought crime comes in. Even thinking the wrong thing is a crime in 1984.
Yeah. And the party takes it seriously. They've got the thought police, these kids trained to spy on their parents, their neighbors, everyone. Imagine living with that fear, knowing anyone could turn you in for a stray thought.
I mean, that's a recipe for paranoia, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you think about, cancel culture, the pressure to conform to certain ideologies, the fear of expressing unpopular opinions. Not exactly thought police, but there's a chilling similarity there.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Once you start policing thoughts, where does it end? And what does it do to our ability to think critically, to engage in open and honest debate? Big questions.
Huge questions. And then on top of all that, the party in 1984 wants to control even the most personal aspects of life. Love, family, relationships, all of it.
Yeah, everything gets twisted to serve the party's ends. Marriage is seen as a duty, a way to produce new party members. Love and intimacy, frowned upon, unless it's strictly for procreation. Even sex is viewed as a threat.
Right. Remember the Junior Anti-Sex League? Pushing abstinence, advocating complete devotion to the party above all else, like they're trying to erase human nature itself. It's pretty wild.
It is wild, and I think it raises some interesting questions about the messages we're bombarded with today, the narratives about family, relationships, personal fulfillment. Who's shaping those narratives, and are they ultimately serving us, or are they subtly pushing us in certain directions?
Great point. It's always worth asking those questions.
Mm.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the nature of power itself. And there's no better character to illustrate that than O'Brien. He's inner party, the big leagues.
Oh, yeah, and he's the one who re-educates Winston in the Ministry of Love, which is basically torture central, by the way.
Right. And O'Brien doesn't mince words. He tells Winston straight up, the party seeks power entirely for its own sake. Power is not a means, it is an end. It's chilling.
Chilling and revealing, I think. It strips away any illusion that the party is working towards some greater good. It's all about control, pure and simple. And the way O'Brien manipulates Winston, makes him doubt his own senses, his own memories, it's messed up.
Yeah, the whole 2 + 2 = 5 thing, making him see things that aren't there, really messes with your head. And it makes you wonder, if someone has enough power, can they literally define reality?
That's the scary part, isn't it? Can they control not just what we do, but what we believe is true? It makes you question everything. And then there's the constant state of war in the book. Always fighting somebody, whether it's Eurasia or Eastasia, sometimes both at the same time, makes your head spin.
Right. And the enemy seems to change on a dime, but maybe that's the point. The enemy doesn't really matter. It's the war itself that's important. It keeps people fearful, keeps them focused outwards, prevents any kind of real progress.
Cynical, but effective. Keep people fighting amongst themselves, keep them afraid, and they'll never question the real source of their problems. Makes you wonder about, the conflicts in our world. Who's benefiting from them? Who's pulling the strings?
Definitely worth thinking about. Now, what about the proles in 1984? Winston initially sees them as like this untapped force for change, right?
Yeah, he has this idea that because they're the majority, because they're not as brainwashed as the party members, maybe they hold the key to overthrowing the regime. If there is hope, it lies in the proles. That's his famous line.
But the party views them as like sheep, right? Good for labor and breeding, not much else. They keep him distracted with mindless entertainment, the occasional lottery win, the bare minimum to keep them content.
And that's the thing, isn't it? The party doesn't even bother to indoctrinate them the way they do their own members. It's like they're considered beneath even that level of control.
Which is pretty messed up. But it does make you think about the role of the masses today. How are our opinions shaped? What forces influence our behavior? Are we really in control of our own destinies?
Important questions to ponder. Finally, let's touch on the theme of resistance. Winston and Julia, they do try to fight back, right?
Oh, yeah. They have their little secret affair, but try to connect with this supposed underground resistance group, the Brotherhood. It's pretty daring, actually.
But also tragic. Because, of course, the party is always one step ahead. They're caught, tortured, broken. Winston ends up a shell of his former self, completely embracing Big Brother. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly leave you feeling optimistic, but I think it's a powerful reminder of how difficult it can be to resist truly entrenched systems of power. It makes you appreciate the fragility of freedom, how easily it can be lost.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into 1984, it's worth taking a moment to reflect on the parallels we've explored. The control of information, the surveillance, the psychological manipulation, all these things that Orwell so vividly depicted, I think they resonate in our world today, even if the forms are different.
Definitely. And while we're not here to offer any definitive answers, we hope this conversation has given you some food for thought, some tools to analyze the information you encounter every day.
That's the goal, to empower you to think critically, to ask the tough questions. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. In our own world, what are the most subtle, most insidious forms of control? How do we protect our minds or freedoms in a world where information flows so freely, but truth can be so elusive?
Heavy stuff, but important. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We hope you found it insightful.
And thought-provoking.